What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Cast right here at Celestia Radio. It's your host, Matthias, back at it again with Nat and Dalit. How my boys doing?
Hey, g'day everyone. I'm doing good. You, Dolan?
I'm dying.
You're dying? Why are you dying?
So tired. I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you. I'm just exhausted.
You didn't take a half an hour nap before the show?
Actually, it's funny you say that. I certainly did.
Oh, all three of us did. Hey,
Let's go!
I'm an old man. That's
Roll.
awfully late for a siesta, but I took the chance. I set an alarm just to be safe, but I did get a power nap in. Wasn't very long though, but I'll take something over nothing.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
We take those power naps. We take those W's where we can get them.
Yeah.
I've been busy, so, today was like I had a moment to take a power nap, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I got one in as well, and I'm just like, finally. My brain can somewhat work for a little bit during the show.
I feel that.
All right, let's milk those brains for what they're worth and get what we can out of them.
It's not much, I'm afraid.
Tonight, this morning's episode is not brought to you by me. Dalit is bringing us the topic this week. So, Dalit, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, that's fair. So, in the past couple episodes, I feel like we've really kind of danced around a broader topic, the topic really just being game preservation. And I thought it was really, really interesting that we've managed to just not talk about stop killing games. And I figured, maybe we should touch on that. It's kind of been a real big movement as of late. Now, it's been a bigger drama farm, and that's the part I'm hoping to ignore or at very most
drama slop.
Yeah, but
we're not
in terms of what it is, I think it is. Well, not yet. Not with that.
I was literally going to say not yet.
Okay, watch it, you two.
But no, you're right. Like that's not what we're here for. So I would actually like to just kind of chat about like what it is, at least what I understand it to be, because I followed this a little bit before it became the jump on pirate software bandwagon, and back when it was mostly just about, can we get this petition like this this idea before eyes of European lawmakers? Now, granted, I know occasionally I slip, so you might think I am. I'm not European, so I can't actually sign off on this. But regardless to whether or not you are or can, the results of this will have an impact on you if you play video games. So, before I go into like big old tangents, do either of you actually have a decent understanding of what the Stop Killing Games movement actually is?
From my interpretation, I'm going to use the word interpretation because I don't want to become the next, pirate software, it's an initiative to essentially stop devs/publishers from just outright shutting down the servers after purchasing the game. And there's a little bit more to that, but it's essentially to just keep the game going via consumers' method, as in like private servers and all that, instead of just like shutting it down and that's it. Like they let's just say like EA or Ubisoft just takes your money and shuts down the games and servers and all that.
Right.
It's a way.
Those are all parts of it for sure.
Yeah, that was a terrible way of explaining it, but that's generally the idea. Is so us, the players and the consumers, can still play the games even though they don't run off official hardware, software, like servers and such.
Yes, just so.
Yeah,
I know nothing.
Nothing. Okay, so the Stop Killing Games movement, as I understand it, has been going on for a while. Like, if you think about it, that's just true. And the idea stems from game ownership versus licensing.
Yes.
I'm sure that you and everyone who listens to this podcast understands that we don't really own our games per se.
It
we own
sucks,
a
but that is
disc.
the truth.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the
It's true.
okay.
We-
I'll say I knew that much about it. I knew it had something to do with like the actual like ownership of games and how that works. And you know, I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I know technically speaking, we don't own games when we buy them, so
I think that's more true in America than other parts, which is why this is a European movement right now, because it's a lot about wording. And in America, we don't own our games. I think this is a straight up fact as far as America is concerned. And I think it's true in Australia as well, but I can't be sure about that.
I kind of wish I knew as well, because I'm going to get this out of the way. I do not know the Australian side of the Stop Killing Games, even though they have been strictly like they said the words Australia. So I don't know if it's affected.
It's because Australia doesn't play by the same rules that the EU or the US
exactly.
or Asia play by. So it's always the wild, wild west when it comes to situations like this.
Yes, exactly. So I'm just pointing out that I do not know the Australian side of Stop Killing Games. I sort of just know the American and European side of things.
And that makes sense because that's the way we talk about things like this. And in America, at least, which is where I can speak to, we own a disc. We own a disc or a file, if you digitally download, that grants us the rights in accordance to an agreement that we sign off at launch, a EULA, End User License Agreement. But that's what it is. It's a licensing agreement. It's not ownership of the game itself. And that comes with a bunch of issues. Chief among them, the publishers having the right to terminate access to a game for whatever reason they deem fit. And this includes the complete removal of a game from any and all platforms, effectively at their leisure. And obviously, people don't like having something they've paid for taken away after the fact and without adequate cause given. So we get initiatives like this.
Yes, exactly right.
All of that is to say, quote, I'm now going to quote directly from the first line of the Stop Killing Games site. Quote, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. End quote. This is the movement's cause, and no other reading is correct. It is literally the first line in the now popular petition page.
Yeah. So obviously this does not affect shovelware and I forgot other wares, but they're essentially like, free games. So
scams are scams, man.
Yeah, but
that's what that is.
There's some games that are free that aren't scams, but they're not affected by it, but they're still technically, part of the whole being distributed through I highly doubt EA, but like Steam and itch.io and all that.
It's interesting to me, this thought process, because I never thought about it. My brain has perpetually existed in that age of PlayStation 2 and Xbox, where I bought a game, it was on a disc, I put the disc into my system and I play said game, and that's the end of the story. Like, even though I'm playing on a PC now, I'm downloading games from Steam, whatever, like my brain has still always been on that same wavelength. It's never really thought outside of that, because when they took games away, or even if they did take games away, once we bought that disc, we're good because we put it into system and a system plays the game. Like, that's
pretty much that was essentially game ownership. We owned the disc, and on that disc was the entire thing. Now, perhaps we didn't own right to the IP, which is correct, but we owned what was on that disc, and it could not be taken away at the click of a button.
Exactly right.
Right. So that's the overall idea of the movement. But the actual hot button topic is the European Citizens Initiative that was introduced, I believe, a year ago at this point. and has slowly, well, until recently slowly, been amassing signatures to be put before the eyes of European lawmakers.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you. I legitimately thought this was not going to make a wave or a ripple in anything, but
neither did I.
But someone definitely,
All right.
Yeah.
Before we get into the drama aspects of it,
okay. It's kind of hard to not talk about Pirate Software
I agree.
He like it's so dumb, but yeah, LaVillain, just to prove LaVillain wrong, because people don't like being told what to do and all that, and to prove somebody else wrong. That's what the internet is. Just yeah. At first, yeah.
No,
again,
I think you're actually right in this. Like, I don't think that we can completely dodge that aspect of it. But I do want to say that I cannot stress enough that the petition is not designed to change the law in a particular way. So before we get into the drama, let's actually consider what this actually is, and then we can go into why it went from almost certainly not getting enough signatures to now almost doubling what it needs.
Yeah,
assuming that all of these signatures are fair and legal, and they're almost certainly not.
But
that's
not. But
but yeah, again, I can't stress enough that this petition is not designed to change the law, right? Like, that's not the end result, but it is there to show that there is interest in having lawmakers take an honest look at the law as it is, in hopes that they take steps to fix how we can feel about it, whether it be shoring up language or fix flaws that were not understandable at the time, because gaming is an ever-evolving landscape, and there might be better protections to be put in right now.
Or, fixing / changing, like, copyright laws and all that,
Exactly. Obviously, there's a hope that this action will be met with a response that, asks game companies going forward to ensure that at the time of game development, there are plans in place for when the inevitable comes and the company wishes to no longer support a continued service.
Yeah.
That said, any legislation pushing for the preservation is a step in the right direction. Or, hell, any legislation that makes game ownership a better understood would be better. This would not be ideal, but the idea of in the EU, them forcing to have game developers and publishers, more specifically, use the term rent games instead of buy would be huge.
Yeah.
Now, it would be awful because that would put a lot of perspective into potential buyers, and people are less likely to rent a game than they are to buy one. Yeah. So that would come with a pretty big drawback, but it would force honesty.
It would. It really would, because I think the last time people accepted renting video games was back in the 2000s, and not anymore. People don't want to rent. People want to own things now, especially in this economy.
It's not even really that. Can you justify renting something for $70?
God, no.
Like, even though you'll have it for whatever the term is that the game lives for, be it 20 minutes or 30 years.
Maybe, like, in a very specific situation, like, I don't have a car, my friend is giving me his car, but, I'm gonna, like, rent it because he still needs money.
Oh, no. We need to look at this. We need to look at this exclusively under the lens of gaming.
Yeah, I know, but
don't let other more sensible ideas creep in.
I'm just trying to say, like, in very specific situations, I can understand renting for $70 in quotation marks, but in the general sense, the general broad of video games, just the answer is no.
Well, yeah, because those specific situations, none of them are gaming. It's when you in the context of video games, that's where the issue lies. So that's what I was thinking when Dalit was saying it, is like, I mean, yeah, I could justify renting a car for $70, but I'm like, that's a car,
right?
This is a video game. That's two very different things. So yeah.
and that's pretty much where we get to in the when phrased like that, it kind of does put in perspective how screwed the gaming companies would be if that were to pass. Even if that little piece of nothing, like, no, we're making no change to the legislature considering or concerning the games industry. We think that they should be able to regulate as they have done. However, we will be forcing them into a specific wording. That wording would fuck them. And it would be great because it would be true. Now, again, we're paying $70, I guess now $80 in some cases. I mean, I'm not paying $80.
Well, you guys are.
But well, yeah, and then you get into the different denominations. We're spending anywhere from $60 to $100 of our denomination, whatever that denomination is, to or thousand. Jesus, no, I can't even put a number on that. It just varies so wildly. We're paying $60 to $80 American to play these games, and we could have them for upwards of. I played Final Fantasy bloody 10 now, and if I still had my original disc, I would have been playing for like 20 some odd years. So there are, like, if you look at it like that, like, it's a good deal. However, then you have to get into the idea of where this started, was ideas like The Crew. I think it was up for 3 or 4 years, I forget how long, and then it was just taken away.
Yeah.
And they can cite low numbers of people, and they can cite, like, it's no longer profitable. But the fact of the matter is, anyone who continues wanting to have played that game now can no longer do it.
Yeah.
And I think go ahead.
No, so yeah, it's one of those things, like, I think that it's probably more common of an issue now, what I'm about to say, but I think for the longest time, up until recently, the broader gaming audience wasn't entirely affected by this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the way single player games work, right? You buy the game, and then it runs on your system. There's no, like, server to connect to, or if there was a server for whatever reason, it was to, update player stats or clear times or scores. Right. And then when those things were shut down, it was just a matter of, okay, well, you just can't get the scores anymore. You can still play the game, and the games would still persist in video game markets and, like, Steam or Humble Bundle or whatever.
But now
we're in this age of live service games, where games are expected to be live, to be connected, to have servers to run off of, and that is a very common type of game.
Games.
And some of these games are games you can play single player and you're not interacting with people, but they still run on that server base and not
always online,
not on a local system. So that's when the issue comes up, because when they pull those servers, when they pull the games, you effectively lose the game that you're playing. So
yeah, and we run into a couple of different scenarios. I think for a long time, like you mentioned, the general gaming audience probably didn't care, because a lot of the games that sold well year over year are games that were iterative. Every year they get a new one. You didn't have to worry about Call of Duty lobbies dying because you weren't playing Call of Duty, the OG Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 last year. You were playing the new one. So, and it was the same with FIFA and all of the sports games, and those are the big system sellers. But you bring up another one that I think is important to bring up. There are always online games that, even if they have multiplayer, are not a multiplayer experience predominantly, but they still require you to log online. And should that go away, suddenly you can't play that single player focused game.
I'm just thinking of, like, Gears of War, Doom Eternal, like, all these games that are, like, just online, even when you're playing the single player games. It's playing just, like, the single player story mode and all that.
Yeah. And again, this is in no way telling them that they can't make games like this, or that games like this are in and of themselves problematic. Only that there needs to be a plan in place for when the company deems that it is no longer of value to that company to keep things up.
Yep.
Because people have bought into this game. You've set a price for it. We've paid the price for it. We should have access to it.
But that's the caveat though. We should have access to these games, but there's these things called IP laws and all that, and oh boy, man.
Yeah, and you're right. That's pretty much what we're arguing over. Is like how can we keep this up? Because obviously the company's not going to want to. The company is a company; it's a business. Their job is to make money. At some point, hosting a game will not be profitable. A great example of this is the fact that Final Fantasy XI is still going is mind-boggling because there's no way it's profitable to keep that going. However, 14 is incredibly profitable. So. But
yeah,
how do I tackle this? But yeah, the idea isn't for us to take everything and say, well, you no longer get to have Final Fantasy XI. Let's say Final Fantasy XI goes down. Final Fantasy XI is now ours. It's no longer yours. Cue the meme, right? Our game, not yours. But it's to say, well, if you do this, you should have things in position so that we can continue playing if we host private service. And to be fair, this exists. It's not official, but it does exist. There are private servers, and in my humble opinion, as someone who does not pursue endgame, you can play all the way through 11 with the trusts. So,
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so like that's the idea there. I'm trying to think of like an online game where that doesn't work. The problem is all of the games I play, that would work fine on.
Yeah.
Anyways, regardless, the idea isn't to take away theirs. It's so that we have a means for this game to continue on. And this is where we get into the preservation aspect. Yeah. And the preservation aspect in this particular case is coming from a place of selfishness. To be fair, inarguable. We want to continue playing our favorite games. This isn't a greater good thing. It just happens that there is a greater good attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, Matt knows, but I've been having a hankering for going back to playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and all that, and I just cannot do that no more.
Let's talk about gacha, because there are examples in place where this could be the case. Most gacha games don't require you to be online and do this, that, and the other to enjoy the game as it is. Where this gets interesting is this is all IP, and the fact that gacha games are designed to be a thinly veiled marketplace with a fun game attached to it.
Yes.
Exactly. However, we know that it doesn't have to end there.
No.
If they're willing to, they can repackage and resell it. We've seen it done before. There was a game recently, one of the Mega Man games, I think it's called X-Dive or X-Dive Offline or something like that. It was an online mobile gacha game, Mega Man running around, shooting things, a bunch of different costumes, or maybe just a bunch of different characters, because it's a gacha, right?
Yeah.
They made an offline version. It's the same thing. You can just earn it playing offline. I think they charge $40 for it. This is the idea that we've been lobbying for. Celestia Radio has lobbied for this idea. We just didn't use Mega Man. We used Opera Omnia.
Yeah.
Just do that. Sell us the game. I will pay you $40 if you put Opera Omnia out with all the content included. Hell, I'll pay you $60 because I think there's enough content there to be a full-fledged game. Yeah, I'll pay you $60.
Same.
Just put it out.
Yeah.
No updates. No new content.
Yep.
No new gacha. No store system. We do not require this company to do anything else other than it's yours now.
Yep.
We retain the IP. You don't get any of the characters, the settings, the locations, all of that. But the game is available to you to play. And that is the core conceit of this. And of course, all of this goes back to like the idea that this came about because people were really mad that the crew... Is it the crew?
I believe it's
the crew. Ubisoft's the crew.
Because it was the racing game first, right? And then it was like one of the Tom Clancy shooters as well.
Oh, I have no idea. I just remember like the crew being the big focal point, and how that's a game that does not require online to be played. It would be nice, I mean, if you want to race your buds online, but no, you can take that out and resell it as a single player experience. And sure, it would mean a little bit of dev time. I won't argue this. You'd probably have to put a little bit of money into it. And then, well, they couldn't resell that because you've technically already bought that game. And that's probably the rub.
Yeah.
But they just want this game to be continued in that sense. And it's important to point out that there is an understanding that this isn't perfect. There's an understanding that there are certain aspects of games that are not capable of being preserved in this way. Like online multiplayer. That's just probably gone without, like, private servers.
Yeah. Right. But, I mean, that's something I feel like most people have an acceptance of to some degree. Like, if the game has a single player and, like, an online multiplayer, right? I feel like a lot of people have an understanding going into it that one day this game will potentially lose its multiplayer because the next iteration comes out or, you know, something happens. But they at least have that single player they can go back, fall back on to play.
The single player isn't touched whatsoever, exactly.
Right, but it's that fact, like, the online, but like, that's just online multiplayer, right? You get games like that are only online multiplayer, like Apex or Valorant, because that's trending on Twitter right now for some reason. Whatever it is, those are like online multiplayer only. So
yes,
when those are pulled,
but
you can't.
These are games that are still being lobbied for having some amount of preservation, saying that it shouldn't be unrealistic for the source code in some way, shape, or form to be presented to allow a third party to re-up servers and allow play. Now, again, this will probably come with some caveats. Obviously, the
IP laws,
the monetization, Well, no, not even that. The monetization portion of these games, which very much do exist, would probably not be allowed to be touched because you can't trust a third party to now run a shop. That's your shop with your IP and that you put up. You get to make money off of that. Anything that comes out now, fair. We don't get to charge for it, except for maybe charging to join a server, and that's probably legally gray. And that is not a position that I'm equipped to argue right now.
No, that's understandable, but I'm pretty sure there's some companies, not all, that have just outright like copyrighted law, that code and all that. So like even asking for source code is like still a bit iffy. But I agree that
what you've just said, and I'm happy you said it, is why this is being put towards lawmakers. See if maybe they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Oh no, I agree.
If you're willing to shut down this service, maybe it's no longer worth covering legally. Maybe now other people should be allowed to continue it on because they paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know, maybe proprietary coding and stuff does prove issues with that. It's hard for me to say. Again, I'm not equipped to argue this aspect, but the hope is just for games to not have to die needless deaths.
Yeah. No, I agree, but like there's also another complaint that I've seen is like, oh, there is some source code that is redirected to the like main server, and that main server also hosts other video games and all this other bullshit as well.
Except you wouldn't be using that server. You'd be using the server of whoever now takes that up. So that feels like again, I'm not a professional in this aspect. Maybe this isn't how this works, but it feels like it would never be tapping the server of the initial party holder ever again once it was cut off.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping, because again, I 100% agree with you. Like, if you're not using it, give it to us and let us create private servers. But like, also,
But I'm not even saying private servers are the only way to go. It's just the only way that as a non-developer, can think of a multiplayer game continuing to live on. My interest isn't in multiplayer games. My interest is in games more like Opera Omnia games, like that single player games that are attached to an always online thing. Like a lot of the I want to say Elden Ring is always online, which is
Honkai
bizarre to
Star
me.
Rail.
All gotcha games. First of all, just asterisk. All gotcha games. Every single one of them.
Well.
We're just gonna dump them all under one category because they all work that way.
Yeah.
Any game that is always online, like this is the that Microsoft issue again, where Microsoft had games for Windows Live, and for whatever reason, if you ever had issues with games for Windows Live, you couldn't play that game. It's like this concept, exactly. It's this concept, but bigger, but like for the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's understood that the best possible outcome for this is not what's going to be reached. Some there has to be some give, some leeway.
Yeah.
But in asking for these things, we can kind of pivot the conversation to a more positive output or a positive outlook for the gamers. And that's really all it is. Like anything to make this better. Anything so that a game that is someone's favorite game doesn't have to die well within their lifetime.
Yeah, like even if it only affects
Europe,
the Europe regions, nations at first, and then down the line it goes, worldwide and all that. But like, I can just simply purchase the PAL version and have that benefit Lamal.
Well, this is the thing. It's if it affects a region as big as any of the major regions, it's going to affect all regions because that's just how they're not making special versions for regions anymore. That's just not how any games get made. That would be a lot. Can you imagine if and in today's news, Hoyoverse has shut down all servers for the massively popular game Genshin Impact, except for the European server. That's not what's happening. And even if that is what happens, we would all just jump onto the European side of things, and they would still.
I kind of want to disagree with you because there are some censorship laws and all that shit, but but there's nothing huge or major that affects the game that requires two different separate copies and all that.
I mean, censorship laws have always kind of been handled interestingly, even by Hoyo, because two characters from Genshin, early on in its life, had to have their costumes censored, and the way that was handled.
Yoda and Amber.
It was Amber and the.
It doesn't matter.
Somebody. And the way that was handled is, in those regions where the censorship laws were in effect, this new skin was the only skin and the default skin because the laws dictated as such. And then in every other region, you could choose the design as it was made and intended, or the censored version that they were forced to make for the censorship law places, states, whatever. So yeah, it's that is an interesting thing in and of itself, and that's been handled in different ways. I think honestly that probably is the best way to handle those in most cases. Is whatever it is.
Two different options.
Well, yeah, it's in all the regions where they don't suffer from the censorship, just make it a default option that you can choose between, and so nobody feels like they're missing out. And then for the regions where they don't have a choice because it's the law, you use the censored version, and that's just if you want otherwise. I'm not going to tell you what to do because I would be basically telling you to break the law.
Well, no. There is a way, Matt. Just don't live bill there. It. Just call for your government and all that, and petition it and all that.
Okay. Now we get into the idea of most petitions don't actually work, and most petitions don't actually.
Yes, I know.
Are taken seriously.
Just tell me about it, Australia. Anyway, but there is a legal way to change censorship laws, and that's to again petition and trying to get it to a bill and all that. But like again,
yeah, but
like
that's going too much into the legal side of things, I think, honestly.
Well, if you want laws changed, that's what you have to do.
Well, I mean, that goes back around to what Dalla just said. Most petitions don't actually see light. So is it the
Yes,
way
I
to
know.
do? Because it's not working in most cases. So
That's why it's the way to do it. It's because it upholds the status quo, and the status quo is the less scary of the two outcomes.
yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion, obviously, not the actual take. You were mentioning you had an example you wanted to go to before the censorship stuff.
Oh yeah.
Matthew?
So like for an example of a game that I don't know. Like I don't know if it's so much an example for the way to handle it or the wrong way to handle it or whatever it might be. But there's a game that a friend of ours is quite fond of, and it was majorly a single player game, but there were missions in the game that you could play multiplayer. And for some reason, one of the final fights in the story was multiplayer. Never quite understood that decision. Well, they shut the servers down for it. You can still play the game if you have it. Completely fine. But when you get to that mission, it's...
You cannot beat the game.
You can't do it multiplayer, so you have to do it single player. So
single player, because it can be done. It's just exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, you're just having
White Knight Chronicles?
It is White Knight Chronicles.
It is absolutely White Knight Chronicles.
It is. It is not designed to be done by one person, and you have to do it by yourself. And that's all well and good, because at the end of the day, they did let you keep the game and play the game. You just have to get Inception
exactly
unfathomably good at this game, or what I feel like was something they could have thought about and done. I don't know the particulars behind the company that made White Knight or whatnot. When you were going to take the servers down, maybe, because I think that's a patch you have to push out to the game anyways, maybe push out in that same patch, you just dial back the stats on that mission so it's not... stupid for a single player.
I genuinely think if that company was still around in the same sense, because I believe it's Tri-A, so I believe it still exists, but in the same sense, they probably would have. I don't think that they foresaw this as an issue.
Yeah.
It's just one of those weird things.
Just quick overlook.
I realized it was a White Knight's kind of a niche game. It wasn't a super popular game or whatever. They're only, just there's a small group of weird people that really like it, like me and Aqua. That being said, it's just like, somebody out there likes it, right? You have to know that. So it's just like,
well, I'm surprised you didn't bring up another game that you specifically are interested in, because
okay, I'm curious.
Single player versus multiplayer is kind of difficult to explain for this game, because I see it as a single player experience that has drop in, drop out multiplayer, but it is in my vision, it is very much a single player game, and that's Diablo.
Yeah.
So like Diablo 3, and I guess now Diablo 4. Wait, are we on 3 or 4? We're on 4, right?
We're on 4.
Yes.
Yeah. So Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. Diablo 4 maybe not. That's more. They have definitely gone in a more MMO way with that.
Yeah.
But like Diablo 3 is, as far as I'm concerned, a single player game that you can run with a friend.
It's
like
the same thing
Diablo, StarCraft,
any Diablo game, really.
Pretty much, exactly.
And
but I think 3 and 4 require an internet.
Yes,
an
3
internet,
and 4.
Yeah.
You can't play it otherwise. I assume the remake of 2 is also the same.
I believe
always
so.
online.
I know the original didn't have that issue, but I think the remake does. I don't remember.
And like these are the big games that are actually these are the big games that are actually like problematic. Because like these are games that don't require this to begin with. So the fact that at any time they could just cut off Diablo 3 and it would just be unplayable. It would just be an icon on your desktop. That would suck. it gets a little. If we're gonna stay on Blizzard for a second, it gets harder with games like Overwatch, where that requires. Like that is game designed for multiplayer. There is no story mode, no matter how much they said there was going to be. So like games like that, like yeah, sure, that dies, and it sucks because people put a lot of money into it. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna run in and just do training mode all day?
Yeah,
But
exactly
games like
right.
Diablo are where the issue is. Like these ideas of a game that you own that shouldn't require them to do anything in any way. Like yeah, you can just stop patching it. I will just play the most recent version of that game for the rest of its existence.
Exactly.
It's
and like
so,
these are the games that are actually like the most like the easiest to understand. It is why, again, I don't want to dwell on this. It's why when Thor was misunderstanding, I'm not going to ascribe any malice to it. I will just say when he had that misunderstanding, be it malicious or otherwise, he specified single player games because there's no argument against this. Like as a single player experience, like there's no good conscience argument against that.
Yep.
It's one of those things that I don't. So they're like some games are primarily single player, but they do play off of a server hosted by the company. That's why it's an always online experience. And I don't understand tech well enough to the point that I wonder, is it not possible for you to push an update to where that is something that, like, if you want to shut your servers down, like, could you not push an update that causes you to like download, the ability to play that game on the local machine? If it's one of those kind of games that is single player, but it runs on a foreign server. When you get into the topic of a single player game that runs on your machine but requires an internet connection to play, and then you lose that internet connection and then you just can't play it anymore, even though it ran on your machine to begin with, that just feels wrong in every sense of the word, right?
It is it is the worst case scenario, isn't it?
I have an answer for you, Matt. The answer is yes. The reason why they don't do it is because, well, it's been shut down. No one's giving them money, so they're not going to put more money into developing a patch to keep it alive for people who still want to play it, even though people want to play it. Does that make sense?
I certainly wish I knew the exact reason for that, because it does feel like something like Diablo. Like whilst the game is alive and you're in control of this Blizzard, it does make sense that you would want to keep certain things like server. I get it. You want anti-cheat to be there. You want to be able to push updates. And I don't know if a singular patch could be the answer. As a matter of fact, it's my assumption that a singular patch probably couldn't. But again, I don't know well enough.
Yeah, but as soon as you take them offline, there's no point in having anti-cheat and all that.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed. And furthermore, even for multiplayer games, if we could get like that freed up, you would be playing with the understanding that you're playing a gimped experience, that there will be hackers, that there will be malicious folks out there, and that you are not subject to the same protections as you had when this had constant updates.
Exactly right. But hey, if you've played, not Modern Warfare. What's the other one? Modern Warfare 2. Private servers and all that. There's quite a few is now. So
I will do you one better. I will use an example. I bought Melty Blood on Steam. Actress
fun.
Again. Actress Again. The Steam version is complete ass. There is a community version that runs peer-to-peer that is a much better experience. In order to play on that, I kind of have to dox myself.
Yeah. Here's my IP address.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I am understanding that this is my conscious choice and this does not reflect on French Bread, the developers, or Arc System, the publisher. I think it's Arc System, the publishers, and that in doing this, I forfeit all liability that the company has because I wanted this experience on a non-supported server.
Yeah,
like that's what this ends up being. Like, yeah, we get to the point where you can continue to play. Now, granted, if anything happens to you now, you're on your own.
Exactly.
And that is just something we are all going to have to deal with. And I think it's something that a lot of people are willing to deal with.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, just like again, going back to, let private servers, just anytime someone could just, just take, like, steal your information and all that. But like, hey, that's the player agency. Is that the right term?
It's the consumer agency.
I don't know about. There you go. Yeah, and I don't think about player. I think this now gets into buyer beware.
Right. Yeah, but like, there's a certain of personal choice that you choose to interact and partake into this activity. And I feel like a lot of that is just gone in video games nowadays. And I think it should be brought back. I don't know if that's like slightly off topic, but like,
do you want to elucidate on that idea a bit? Actually, I don't think I followed that entirely.
Well, like, again, just private servers, you go play, as you said, Melty Blood on a non-official, or like, Modern Warfare 2. Literally, some guy can just steal your information, but like but you choose to partake into that sort of thing to have, to be able to
I'm making the
play the game. Yeah, exactly.
And conscious is important in that sentence. Like, I am essentially knowingly going into a dangerous environment. And I mean, it doesn't have to be dangerous like IP theft. It doesn't have to be dangerous like that. It could just be as simple as, hey, there's no anti-cheat in here. That dude sitting in the corner is wall hacking, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, exactly right.
It can be petty little shit too.
Very petty.
And I imagine most things won't be very big. I imagine most things won't be like, and suddenly they hacked my computer and now I'm digging for ETH all day and all night, and oh no, I'm a crypto bro. No, it's probably gonna end up being like, every now and again we have someone come in and they wall hack and we realize and we have to ban them.
Yeah,
that's like it fucking sucks. Or now someone pops in and I play on a VPN because someone got salty and lost and essentially texted me my own IP address, and that was weird.
Oh, God.
That has not happened. It has not happened. But I was like, this is something that you open yourself up to, and there should there has to be some understandable amount of risk that we take as a consumer once end of life happens. But again, all of this doesn't matter because right now we're just trying to get to that.
Yeah,
we're trying to get to the point where the law catches up with where we are now and says, okay, you're selling a product and you say you're selling a service, except that you are selling something physically to someone. Maybe you should have an end of life plan for them so they can continue to have something, maybe no longer updated. Maybe the service is no longer going to be perpetuated, but they should have something for the $80, $90, $100, $120 they spent on all of this.
Yep.
That's what this comes down to. And there's reason to believe that this is seen as a threat. I mean, first and foremost, the industry always takes movements like this very seriously. That's not to say that they enjoy these movements. They, matter of fact, have come out.
Certain companies do not enjoy it.
No company enjoys this. They almost always come out against it vocally. A big reason for this being brought up in the EU and not in America specifically is mostly, if I could read between the lines, just how much law favors the companies in America and the lobbyist groups that they're speaking through. Though it should be noted that the EU is not immune to this, and as a matter of fact, last week I think Video Games Europe stepped in to roadblock, albeit with gentle and honeyed words, the movement. I have where is it? Right here. I have like the statement they put in, and this was on the 7th of. I'm sorry, this was on the 4th of July. I keep forgetting this is Europe. We use the correct way. We go small to big. Day, month, year. God, it'd be nice if America did that. Anyways, we appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience no longer is commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. They go on to say, private servers are not always a viable alternative for players, as the protections, remember what we were just saying, the protections we put into place to secure player status are removed, illegal content is removed, and we do combat unsafe community content. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be an online-only experience. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice, making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. I take issue with a couple of things that were said here. I think there are some out-and-out lies here, and some white lies here.
All right, let's go into the outright lies. Take it away.
Well, the outright lies are that this would very likely curtail developer choice and make these games prohibitively expensive to make. I don't think either of those.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
I think I do think that this might add. I think this might add a not insignificant amount, but I don't think this would add an amount of development or just cost to a game that would make a game unfeasible to make.
Yeah, exactly right. Like it's not free to make a backup plan. I don't know if you want to call it that for end of services, but like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we need to double our budget just so we can make it offline for players and consumers and all that. Like, it's not that.
Like, don't get me wrong. This would in fact screw over certain games, 100%. But we didn't know about those at the beginning anyway. Like, Destiny would be screwed by this, but Destiny has it fucking coming, because you can't play but 20% of what you bought since the very beginning. Like, 80% of that game doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly like that, right. Yeah.
That's what we are trying to stop. But in terms of like this whole second sentence, private servers are not always a viable alternative option. Sure, I'm sure if I were presented enough examples, there would be games where just like, yeah, it's not viable to continue this in any way, shape, or form on a private server. But I don't think that's true of most of them. And sure, like we were just saying, there are protections put in place to remove illegal content, combat unsafe community content, and and keep player data safe that just wouldn't exist. And that's fine. The moment service ends, you should have something in your EULA that says you're no longer liable for that. That just isn't an issue. Because that would no longer be the publisher house's problem. So this is where we get into like this white lie. Like, yeah, you could spin it away to make it true, but the fact of the matter is, once you've stopped service, so long as you have it written somewhere that at end of life we are no longer responsible, you're no longer responsible, and now we take it on ourselves as consumers to jump into the wolf's den.
Fucking exactly. That's literally the words right out of my mouth. Dolan.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is. I just
it's like stupid, saying, ain't it? Yeah.
It's frustrating. Because we expect the games industry to come out against this. This is all This is all consumer facing. None of this takes into consideration the games company. I wish I had looked up how much the game industry makes makes annually, but you will forgive me if I don't feel bad for a bunch of billionaire companies. Maybe not individual people, but like the companies making billions of dollars a year. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like EA with all the fucking sports games.
EA,
Is it EA?
Ubisoft, Nintendo as a whole company.
Yeah.
None of the, like, all of them. They're like,
any true gamer has no nice thing to say about Nintendo. Just saying.
These are companies that make aggressive amounts of money that want to pose as broke boys to say, oh, we couldn't possibly afford to have an end of life plan. Do you know how much money that would take? And don't get it twisted. Games cost a lot to make. And I am not blind to that fact. And I know that every game does not make enough money back to continue being
profitable.
Well, continued. But some games are just never profitable.
That's true.
But that's not my issue here. And I'm going to be honest, that is a problem for the companies. I think you guys need to handle your bloat and budget, and a lot of these issues go away. These are not issues of keeping a game that you have already put out running, so much as you decided to have a game cost $10 million to make, $100 million to make,
$300
millions.
Yeah,
too many millions of dollars for you, whoever you are, specifically,
$1
Ubisoft
billion.
But so yeah, that's the big thing here. Is like, this is a bunch of white lies covered up using very kind words to say we appreciate that you're thinking about this. We're thinking about it too. They're not. They want to cut this off at the pass and kind of have people say, well, I mean, the video games people have a good point. They don't. They don't have a good point.
Yeah.
This kind of comes back to something I said a long time ago around the end of, I want to say it was around the end of the 360's life where this was becoming a thing. 360, PS3, whatever. Where back then we were still getting games on the disc. Like when we put a disc into the system, the game was on the disc. Yeah. And they tried to move to the all digital format into the next gen, something that Microsoft had to backtrack on because people were like, no, hold up, we don't like that. But Sony and Microsoft and all of them kind of got one over on us because the games that we were buying on disc in that next gen weren't actually on the disc. It was a thing that said, hey, download the game. They have the ability to do that. They've purchased it.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb.
What so many people back then, myself included, were making a fuss about in forums, online, and similar, like you would see petitions start up about it back then as well, even, is we don't want games off the disc. We don't want our games not on the disc. We want the games on the disc. We want the physical discs, because like looking back at it now, man, I wish that had even been even louder, because back then it was just it was people wanting to preserve physical copies. They enjoyed having physical copies. They enjoyed having them on their shelves. Some people like myself at the time were working in game stores and were like, hey, we require these things to be physical. Like, this is how we work. And my own grievances with certain game store companies aside, I think game stores as a whole are a really cool thing, and I don't want to see those die because physical discs are no longer a thing. And then it also comes back to something we haven't quite touched on yet, but down the line we probably will, and I know we've talked about it in past episodes, is the preservation of the games, even because like we've talked about how some companies are like, well, we don't want to remake this game, or we can't remake this game because we don't have the code for it. And it's just like, well, is that really true? Because This is from an era where the code, the game was on this disc. Pretty sure you can get it off that disc. Like, technology is able to do that.
They can, but reverse engineering isn't always that easy.
Yeah,
I made this argument to someone who knew better, and they tried to explain it to me. It didn't stick. There's a lot of reasons why that is, while possible, still difficult, and sometimes it's actually easier just to remake the damn thing.
Well, yeah,
right.
And I'm not saying that's not the case, but but the fact of the matter is, it is possible, and so it's one of those things that you can't say it's lost because, well, that disc is still sitting on your shelf right there. All the code's right there. You haven't lost it. You may not have access to it in the way that you need it for this thing, but you haven't lost it. Because it is perfectly preserved on that disc. The game is preserved, and at any point, if it's a PlayStation, an NES, a GameCube, whatever, you get one of those systems that plays that game, you can plug it up, you can put the disc in, you can play the game. You have preserved the ability to play this game and preserved it for future generations to play this game. And that's it's one of the things that, while maybe not directly the thing that this petition, this movement is combating, is something it is indirectly combating. Affecting. So,
I mean, just look at it in more simpler terms. You do not have internet, but you have electricity. You got a game to play. But now with, once again, going back to it, with things just being constantly online and all that, like, if you do not have internet, you're just shit out of luck.
Yeah, no, like, this is well, not even small. This is a pretty sizable chunk of a bigger issue overall. That's this weird bubble that gaming finds itself in, being such a profitable industry now, where we're seeing a lot of issues crop up because of it. Games being seen as not successful because they don't reach X number despite still being still making a profit.
This is what I was talking about. Oh, actually, no, I wasn't talking about, but like, sort of going back to what I've said a couple casts ago, is that like, video game companies are trying to be the next movies in terms of like, with how big they can get, and obviously Marvel and all that, but it's also in the opposite direction, that movies don't think video games are as profitable because, again, we have like movies that just sell like billions and billions of fucking dollars. When's the last time a game has sold billions of dollars?
I don't know. It's probably every couple of iterations of Call of Duty probably will do it.
Yeah, probably. But like, I forgot why I was talking about this. Anyway, regardless, but yeah, like, it's just this weird scope of like, their scope is way too large, and they're thinking way too big instead of just condensing it and like condensing their focus on, what makes them money with this, with just or a few of their games in this, like, not fiscal year, but like these, what's the term? But like these like groups of games that they're currently releasing.
Seasons?
For me,
no, not seasons.
For me, the issue becomes when a medium that is art suddenly becomes a medium that must profit. And that's not to be pedantic and ridiculous and say, oh yeah, video games is art, is a must. I understand at the end of the day, these are all businesses. But the issue therein becomes when being profitable isn't enough. You have to make more money than you did last quarter, last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, month, by like
the last game you put out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying by like that, like their scope is like so wide and so general that like they just don't have a focus other than making more money.
And again, that's where my issue comes in. Like once you get away from the art of it, once you get away from, okay, we've put out a successful product and it's become, well, the product was successful, but we needed it to do numbers
3
like
times
this,
the
that,
amount.
or the other.
Yeah, 3
then
times,
then you
4
get
times,
into
5 times the amount.
right, because you start chasing things that you think might help that, and maybe they don't. Like I think we've gone too hard. Like and I've said this before. I think we've officially gone too hard into realism. And I think at this point it's hurting the games we make. Because that is an expensive process. And the more we go towards that area, the larger companies feel they need to make their rosters. So like suddenly we have these really bloated teams of people working. Then the chain of command gets really hazy and fuzzy. Then we have delays, we have setbacks, and now a game that could have been profitable and it needs to do doubly as well because it's been delayed twice.
Yeah. Like think of this. Would you rather have an Expedition 33 once every 4 to 8 years, or would you want an Expedition 33 that is lower quality in terms of just everything other than graphics every year?
So yeah, all right, you beat me to the point I was going to make. I'm actually genuinely surprised that's where that ended. But yeah, to your point, like that's pretty much where I'm at. Maybe I do agree that a year is a bit fast nowadays, but like I do believe, yeah, I do believe gone are the days of Final Fantasies where we go Final Fantasy 6 one year, Final Fantasy 7 another. But I do think we're at a point where we can comfortably, like if we scale back these games in terms of how much we're asking these teams to do, all this extra content, all these massive loading screen free areas, all these hyper realistic people. Like I think if we scale back on that and allow a level of focus back into this and have the initial idea be your guiding star, we can see games reduced in price. And well, reduce in price to make. Lord knows we'll never see games under $70 again. But reduced in price to make, and with smaller teams moving faster.
Yeah.
The number one takeaway from Expedition 33 was how that team moved during development. They, in their entire time making this game, they were able to scrap what they made for the most part, saving a couple things here and there, and restarted and still put it out faster than any sequel that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like a smaller team working quickly is just going to be more valuable.
Yeah,
and a smaller team with a passion at that.
Yeah.
So hot take, I don't think it needs to be a passion. I think you need like 3 people with passion, and they need to be the ones in forming the art.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in terms of like people sitting down and just doing the work, so long as bloat doesn't get worked into it, so long as the scope doesn't keep creeping further and further out, if you have people who just like to do that job, maybe they aren't 100% in on this game they're doing, they'll still get it done. I imagine people at Ubisoft are fucking sick unto death of making Assassin's Creed titles, but they can still do it. And the biggest thing holding that back, the biggest thing holding that back is, again, how big those fucking games are, right?
Yeah.
Those games are fucking huge. Like, if they just, if they were to make an Assassin's Creed, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess? And just go back to the old formula, I imagine they could hammer that out in 3 years. Maybe 4.
Yeah.
A nice, smart, linear experience, maybe semi-linear experience with larger areas. Like 16 is almost where I'm thinking of. These large areas, but getting rid of the need for it to be open world, getting rid of the need for it to be loading screenless, maybe push back a bit on that hyper realistic and have all of the shiniest VFX and just make it work. Like, Clair Obscur Edition Expedition 33 puts a lot into perspective of what I want from a game. It's a big world, but it still feels small enough that I can get through in one go.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, the art is good, but I wouldn't say it's breaking any records of realism and pushing the industry towards a new look. It just does everything it needs to do with stuff that is easy for the team to work with.
Yeah. But no, we get companies that have fucking 3,000 people working on one game for some fucking reason, and it just comes out as
Hey, got to make the next Call of Duty, right?
Yep. And then
got to make that next 100 million seller.
Yep, and then they have the fucking audacity to be like, no, you're not. We're not going to do anything to help you consumers at end of service because all our games are fucking online and semi-live service as well. Like, okay.
Brings up a separate issue, but Matthew, I want you to get your idea out first.
It's just astounding to me how much one game... I don't want to say one game. I want to say maybe one series, but I don't think it is the entire series. I think it is just a few games in that series at one point in time. How they had such a critical impact on the direction the game industry went.
Hey man,
it's one of those things like it's astounding to me because I don't even think the people that made that game foresaw what this would become and the direction it would lead.
Almost certainly not. Yeah,
and Call of Duty and I want to say Modern Warfare 2 is probably the biggest one that really directed things, but maybe it was just original Modern Warfare. I could maybe hard to say.
It's one of the two of them. I also think it was 2, but it might have been the first Modern Warfare.
How they just had this critical impact, and then sports games always kind of had this steady thing.
Yes, correct.
But like nobody paid too much attention to it because they always looked at it as sports, because it was like, oh well, that does that because sports, right? But then you had a game that was very much a game for a game's sake. To do what it did and to sell as it did and make as much as it did. And then it became, oh man, this is what gaming is. This is the future. This is what gaming needs to be. Ignoring all of these amazing games, incredible games that had better reviews, mind you, than the game that did this, right? So...
I mean, it only takes one protagonist and one villain.
Well, okay, I do want to put out... I blame Call of Duty just because I have a beef with Call of Duty, because that's always the number one game. However, I don't think that it's just Call of Duty to blame. I will name a few games I think are actually the progenitors of the problem, and I think it is... Call of Duty is one of them, to be sure. FIFA, NFL, like those two are also pretty bad, and I have a specific issue with sporting games because those games realistically can be bought once, and then the next two games could just be patches.
But Ronaldo's not in FIFA 2012. So how am I supposed to play 2012 if Ronaldo's not in there?
Again, this is my point. Like they're just patches. Like you buy.
They are just patches. It's actually ridiculous. They are literally just patches. The game. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, genuinely, sports games should be like updated every 3 years, not every year. Another game that is massively consequential to the games we have nowadays is Grand Theft Auto 5, and this is why it is the reason why everything is an open world now. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Just give me more reasons to blame Grand Theft Auto for stuff. I'll take it, Dolly. Give me that fuel. You know I hate that series. Give me the fuel, brother.
But Dolan,
look, this is just the way it is.
But Dolan,
and then you have
GTA 6 is gonna make $1 billion. Ooh, I'm
it probably
excited
will,
for that.
To be fair.
Aren't you excited for
problematic?
I'm seething and being vindicated. I want that game to come out, and I want it to just not be what everybody wants, and then I want Rockstar to just come out and be like, yeah, man, it was a flop. And I'm just gonna be like, yes, your game is terrible.
Nah,
feel good.
Because all everyone wants it to be is GTA 5, but in Florida, and that's exactly what they're gonna get.
Yeah, I know.
That game is going to do gangbusters.
My hope is never going to come true because they have this really stupid game that does this one thing really simple and it just dazzles people. So it would be impossible for them to get it wrong. Really.
Dark
and my last one is not a game. I'm sure someone expected me to say Dark Souls or something. Mobile games are a fucking plague.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Mobile games are a fucking plague.
Yeah.
Mobile games are the reason why we have the absolutely horrendous monetization in paid-for games that we have now.
So do you mean specifically gacha games, or do you mean mobile games?
I mean mobile games. Gacha games are included in that, but the progenitor of this was fucking Candy Crush.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, Hoyo is hot on their tails because Hoyo introduced a second aspect to this, where they can like take what was already before them with the gacha experience and really fucking cause people to go bankrupt. But no. The real issue for mobile games was Candy Crush and showing how profitable being absolutely morally bankrupt about monetization could be.
Yeah.
And then of course Hoyo comes along and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we can double down on it. Fuck yeah."
Yep.
Well, I mean, let's not say Hoyo's the progenitor of gacha. Hold on, I think there were a few other people that came before them.
No, not progenitor. Hoyo is the breakout.
Yeah,
like Call of Duty wasn't the first game doing what it did. Call of Duty, I said, Candy Crush was the progenitor of horrible monetization.
And then
Hoyo's right on its tail.
I want to fight that a little bit. Because
you can absolutely fight it. I'm not wrong.
I think you are, because the numbers Hoyo sees now are very similar to the numbers FGO saw in its prime.
No, Hoyo had the single largest fucking thing with Genshin Impact's launch. I'm not. This is not an argument.
No, they've hit crazy numbers. They got big, but this thing that you're talking about, FGO already did it. They didn't get as big, but they were already doing it. It was already massive.
But that's my point. That is my point. I don't care. I don't care if the thing already existed. I am looking for the thing that sparked it into mainstream. Genshin Impact. Forget Hoyo. Genshin Impact specifically is what sent gacha into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, if you word it that way, okay, I agree. That's just not the way.
And just like Candy Crush is what took mobile games into the mainstream. Like these are the pillar series of their gaming genre. Like Call of Duty wasn't the first game to do what it's doing, but it's the one that blew up. GTA wasn't the. I don't think GTA was the first thing to do what it's doing, but I am having a bit of an issue thinking about.
Well, remember GTA 1 was literally top down, and yeah.
But is there a game like GTA 5?
Kind of crazy taxis. Oh, online section. I have no idea.
No.
I thought you mean just the game itself.
Like these are the games that I can point at and go, they are the reason why the industry is shaped into what it is today.
Right.
And there are other games. There are games you can point out to say that these are games that did well.
Gmods. I guess you can consider that Gmod Dark RP before GTA 5 for the online aspect.
Sure. That's maybe. Anyways, all of that was to say this. These are the reason why we have like this weird precarious bubble that the games industry finds itself in, and that the bubble has begun to show signs of popping with the AAA side of things, right? Like the budgets have just ballooned to outrageous proportions, and it's getting to the point where how do you even make that money back on a mega success? Like I don't know how Sony is doing it with those leaked documents we saw about Spider-Man and the cost of making that, and assuming that's going to be a very similar cost to games like God of War, Tsushima, or Ghost series now, I guess is what we'll call it. and the upcoming Logan game. I think it's safe to say that, like, at some point we're gonna reach a point where nothing will be profitable.
I thought the Logan game got canceled.
No. Thank God. Wonder Woman got canceled, but Wolverine is still going apparently.
Okay. But yeah, no, you're right. Like,
I started this.
Thankfully, that is just the AAA problem. I don't think indies and double A's have that inflated ego and mindsets and scope just yet.
I mean, no, that's how you get games like the Hoyo stuff and Expedition 33 is because someone has a good idea and then it blows up and then they become a big organization. This is only ever going to be a AAA problem. Like an indie just can never have this issue. I mean, an indie can have the issue of overexerting itself and maybe not getting it right, but those games tend to die and just never come out,
right?
Because they couldn't get the funding for it. Anyways, all of that was just to say we're in a position where games are less about being a profitable piece of art and more about making an aggressive amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's why preservation is not a thing that they care about. That's why we're into this. To be fair, there is some good that comes with it. That's why we're getting all of these remakes, which I guess goes towards preservation, but that's not why those are being made. Those are not being made for preservation reasons.
No, they're made for
those
money.
Are being made. Yeah, those are being made to prey on my goddamn sense of nostalgia. And
I mean, if they were being made for preservation reasons,
every single time
they wouldn't change the game. It would be the same game, but with pretty
it would
graphics.
Be a remaster.
But that's not what we're getting. We're getting games that are different, but based off of the original source. Sometimes you get something that's pretty close, like the Resident Evil 2 and 4 were both pretty close to their source. There were differences, but for the most part, they're pretty on par. But then you get things, for everything like that, you get things like the entire Final Fantasy VII remake is just a different story at this point. And
same character, same locations, different everything else, though.
Yeah, and then like Resident Evil 3 was just missing a lot, really.
Yeah.
Like, is nice. This is only there because of money. It's not there because of like actual preservation. And they are content to continue putting out games that people enjoy and then shuttering them. And all of what we have said to say this, we just want games to continue. And if there's a game that you really, really like, surely you don't want it to die and be unable to play it again. For some of us, that's not an issue. I'll forever be able to play 10. For others, they might lose their favorite game. And we want to do everything in our possible to bully the publishers into allowing that to be a thing. Even if it's not using their backing, even if it's not with their safety in place. We just want the ability to be able to play our games.
I feel like we haven't said that quite enough, and we should emphasize that a little bit, that this isn't always the devs, this is the publisher that makes that call sometimes.
Yes, that's why I've made it very... I've had to say that a couple of different times. I don't give a shit about the devs. Devs are just there to make a banger title. None of my blame can fall on them unless they come out and say something really stupid. This is corporate. That is who the bad guys are.
Like, okay, people. If you don't,
you're absolutely right, Matthew.
Yeah. Like, I want you to understand how serious this situation is, ladies and gentlemen, listeners. Imagine if Roblox just one day shut down and you cannot play it ever again.
I'd be so happy.
Well, how young do you think our demographic is?
It would be devastating to our fan base.
Is that our fan base?
I don't think that's our fan base.
No.
I mean, there's a few people in that age range that listen to us, but not all of them.
But seriously though, imagine just one day, like I know Matt would be happy, but like just imagine one day Fortnite and Roblox are just completely shut down. You cannot play it anymore.
Okay, hold up. I actually would be a little upset by the Fortnite one.
But like it would have some, I would think it would have some crazy effects. Crazy ripples in the water, as you would say. Yes.
Nah, then the ripples won't be in the games. The ripples will be in the adults with children that suddenly have to figure out, how do I raise a child? Sorry, I got
with an iPad.
I got really real there for a second, and I'm sorry.
Still with an iPad.
I think I think that would be. I think it'd be catastrophic. I think there's enough people all consistently aiming to steal its place that what you would get is just a clone. And Fortnite is actually a really good example, because Fortnite is literally, with the exception of pushing graphically, literally all the things that I complain about in one game. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Like I am genuinely super impressed with that game, and majoritively for all the wrong reasons.
I'm at this point, Fortnite, like, I had a lot of hate for it at one point in time. Imagine that, Matt having hate for a game. It's starting to sound like it's actually possible. But it's gotten so ridiculous with the things that Fortnite is able to do, and the IPs they're able to bring in, that I'm just kind of, at this point, I'm just like, no, keep going, man. I want to see how crazy this crap gets. I want to see what's next. What are you bringing into this next? I'm getting a good laugh out of it at this point.
Well,
if I have to guess, at this point, probably Superman, right?
Yeah, probably, because that's the new hottest thing. But like, just imagine that. Like, is Fortnite going to be, outside of this, like, stop killing games bubble, because like of all the just IPs and just copyright laws that's like in that fucking game. Yeah,
how is that profitable? Jesus, the licensing alone must be.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to figure out how they have some things from conflicting IPs in the same world. Like, how do you doing this? Like, do you realize how much crap like Hollywood gets if they try to put two coexistent IPs that don't get along in the same thing?
I'll do you one better. There's a bunch of Marvel characters in that game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite a few.
They can sit around drinking beer, a la King of the Hill now.
Yep.
And that's usually something that's a big no-no, is you can only depict characters in a certain way, which means this game is so big that when they ask people to be a part of their game, they're like, yeah, no reservations. You can just use our character. Because I guess the logic is you're not playing the character. That's just a skin.
Yeah, the cosplaying.
I don't know what the logic is, but man, is it wild. The fact that, like,
it's all I got.
Like that this game exists. We've gone completely off topic because of Fortnite now, but that this game exists.
I wouldn't say it's off topic.
It's entirely off topic, especially what we're talking about. That this game exists with all the copyright laws, all the licensing, all the IPs existing in a state, and you're able to do half of the things you're able to do. Like Dalit said, the King of the Hill, drinking the beer,
that alone would put so many companies off.
Spider-Man,
you cannot have our characters
Spider-Man
drinking alcohol or smoking or killing someone.
Like you can get Spider-Man with a gun. Like, that's crazy. And then you can get Spider-Man up on a stage, like, belting out Linkin Park or Evanescence, and it's just like, hold on, what? And then you also got Spider-Man doing popular dances from different musicians or music videos and stuff like that, and it's like, what am I watching? What is going on?
Yeah, and now take all that, and the servers have shut down, and us consumers still want to preserve it. But now all these companies are like, no, because these are our IPs, this is our license. Like, how it is kind of Fortnite centric, but like, how is Fortnite? It's so cringe. I'm actually fucking saying this. How is Fortnite in this position of stop killing games? Because if Fortnite can do it, why can't other games start making a big game that just has all these IP crossovers as well?
Because they're not Epic. They don't have Epic's initial money.
They don't have
You're
the money.
right,
And
but
they don't have
other people?
Epic's current base.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Understandable.
Remember that that's not how this game started. This game built a large audience fairly in a fairly common way. Bunch of really routine looking Unreal characters, Unreal Clay-toon characters running around, putting up walls, shooting. It was a while before they started actually becoming
the collab
whatever
game
they have become now. So they had to build that sense of community first and then allow for this.
Right.
And I honestly just got lucky.
And
they'll tell you that I'm wrong, but I'm not.
Whatever the case may be with all the IPs that are involved with it, those IPs probably aren't. I don't even think it's a probably. I'd be bold enough to say aren't in any way able to dictate whether those servers stay up or stay down, or can come back up if shut down, kind of thing. That's all on Epic. Whatever agreement that they sign when they agree to these crossovers and whatnot, it gives Epic a lot of power with their IP, and it's kind of wild that some of these people agree to it, like how protective Marvel is, and then this happens.
Don't get me wrong, we're never going to see Winnie the Pooh turn up. Like, Disney's not going to let their child-oriented IP show up. But it's surprising that they'd even allow their teenage-based audience to. I'm assuming you can smoke in that game. You can definitely shoot people. That's the whole point of that game. It does feel very surprising. And so to curry that kind of confidence from these companies is, well, first of all, it's impractical to begin with. The amount of work you have to put in, how lucky you have to get. But I don't see another company doing that. And at this point, I don't see Marvel and Co. bothering with another.
Right.
Fortnite's a phenomenon. What company is going to catch up at this point? At this point, the next Fortnite is going to be a game that is not Fortnite.
Yeah.
I think Marvel ends up being okay with it because, well, you do see characters in their comics doing some of these things, just maybe not those specific characters. So
sure, if this was Moon Knight, but the Fantastic Four out there drinking beer and smoking a blunt, what?
I know, like that's what I'm saying. You may not see these characters doing it, but it does exist in their comics. So
sure,
it's not.
But my issue wasn't so much with Marvel. I only said Marvel because Marvel is owned by Disney.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the same. Like Star Wars is here, and Star Wars is owned by Disney as well. Like it's Disney. You're not gonna see. This was me more selling your point prior that you're not gonna see Disney give up their kids' IP stuff,
right.
But these things that Disney may own, but they are even Disney aside, like for Marvel. It's not a far leap of logic because, these things exist in those worlds already. So maybe you don't see those characters do it, but who's to say? Spider-Man is the example I'm going to go to because it's the easiest. Spider-Man exists in a multiverse all of his own sometimes, where there is thousands and thousands and thousands of different Spider-Mans that have something different. Who's to say? And this is actually an actual Spider-Man, so I can't even say who's to say. But there's a Spider-Man that didn't have a drinking problem. There is a Spider-Man that had a drinking problem in the Spider-Verse. So it's like,
right, yeah,
these things exist. So it's not like a huge leap in that regard. Same thing with Star Wars because half of their scenes take place in bars.
Yep.
And there was, I think, a scene in that may have been in one of the books actually, but there was a scene where somebody killed somebody by forcing an overdose on them. So it was
nice.
Death sticks. You don't want to sell me death sticks.
Death sticks.
You want to go home and think about your life.
I want to go home and think about my life.
Nat, you want to go home and think about your life?
No, I already do that.
Yeah, we don't need to ruminate any harder than we already do.
But yes, getting back to the actual main topic, which was, what was it again, Dollet?
Oh, fantastic! Wonderful. It's the Stop Killing Games. It's the European consumer initiative.
Yeah. And I think the main takeaway from that main topic is stop killing games.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally in the title. That's it. That's it. You can read it however you want to, but that's all we want. Is we just want to be able to play our games.
Give us
fucking
ways.
Weird nerds.
It really
give
is
us
that
ways to play games at end of service. It's literally not that hard.
I mean,
but apparently
and once again, for the upteenth time, Square Enix just put Opera Omni out for $60. I'll buy it.
Please.
Yeah. I didn't even play it when it was a gacha. But if you put it out as a game, I'll pay you $60 for it.
Yeah. It's please. But it's one of those things. You take the legality, the politics, all that other BS out of it. It's just there are people like us. There are quite a few people like us that play games because we like games and we just want to keep playing games, and we would really appreciate it if you jackasses and the publishers out there stop trying to kill the thing that we love.
Yeah.
Especially after it was something that was looked down upon by the world. Now it's accepted, and now you're trying to kill it when we're happy.
It's actually so true. Actually so true.
All in pursuit of more profits.
Money, the green. Not that kind of green. The other green.
That's like I've gone above and beyond what I have the knowledge to speak on. We have tackled everything. At this point, we can spin off, or if you want to attack this from another side of things. Now
there's a certain rat in the room we can talk about.
No, I think we've done good. I think we've done good.
The villain.
I agree. I don't think it's all that bad. I think he was a dickhead about it, but I don't think it's that bad. I think he's catching all the strays he doesn't need to catch right now.
It's funny.
Here's my 4D chess big brain theory. He intentionally went and did something dumb and took on all the hate to bring attention to it.
I have
Matt
heard
also went on Reddit.
I have heard he willingly became the villain. So that I was like, what the fuck kind of anime protagonist nonsense is this? Like, this is the whole Eren Yeager thing. Not Eren Yeager. Who did this? Sasuke. This is Code Geass.
Code Geass, as well.
He became Lelouch so that we would all hate Zero and come together. Like, what the fuck, guys? No, that's not what happened. He was just dumb for 6 hours and then doubled down. That's all it was.
Yep.
My man.
Please stop going at him personally. Please tackle him from his bad takes. But I think
stop going at him personally, because that's ridiculous. That's too much.
I think Thor has the capacity to do plenty of good if we allow him. You do just need to call him out when it's bad. Just don't stop being personal. Stop being weird, and that's stop being weird.
Is it stop being weird. Stop being
also
personable.
Thor. Just take the L.
Yeah,
just take the L.
That's it.
Thor, I'm now finished.
I think Thor's a brilliant dude. Knows a lot about games. Cool guy. Brother, just take an L and just let it go. just move on with your life. Like, seriously.
Just use the manager.
But yeah, no, stop attacking him. Stop being weird. Stop attacking people unrelated to him, like they were attacking off brand. Like, that's ridiculous. People, stop being weird. Seriously, stop being weird. And publishers, maybe stop what you're doing and reevaluate your life.
Reevaluate the industry, because it's about to burst, and all of you at the top are going to be the first ones to. Well, you'll get a golden parachute, but then you won't get to be making more money. You'll have to go to a new business instead of continue making money at this business.
Wouldn't a parachute made out of gold make you fall faster? Because gold isn't necessarily light.
It sure would.
Okay, just
it's one of those gold coats. It just makes it look shiny. It's not actually made of gold.
I certainly hope not. That's what we like to call in the industry an anchor.
Right.
Yeah, I hope both game publishers and pirate software, it goes through, but they don't get what they want. Yeah, whatever the fuck
Pretty
you
much.
said.
I don't even know if you know what you just said.
To be completely honest, I don't agree. Like whilst I'm lobbying here for everyone to stop being mean to Thor, I don't agree with him. I hope he has to sit there and eat crow, and this passes, and he has to deal with the fact that he was wrong and all this. But I do want to point that out. I can separate the man from his absolutely horrendous fucking take that I do not agree with.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, take us away, Matt or Hart Dolet.
That'll be me, because Dolet will. Will not.
Yeah, like I said, I have expended the width and breadth of the knowledge and the amount that I'm willing to dibloviate about. So,
listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us and listening to this. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube and Spotify. If you're here in Twitch, you can just let us know in chat in the post show. And
super interested.
Yeah, we are very interested to hear your thoughts, what you have to say, and yeah, that's it, man. We stop killing games, preserve games. Like, we preserve $1 million pieces of art, and some of these games are worth preserving as well. Most of these games worth preserving as well. So
100%.
Let's preserve those.
Yeah.
And let gamers play games.
Real quick.
Are you really gonna do this in my outro? Okay.
No, just hold on. No, hold on, Matt. If you are European and you can, please do vote for the not, or sign the petition for the not killing games.
Okay, well, that was a good interrupt. Thank you, Nat. Actually,
yes, that is fair. Yeah,
actually, bravo.
We did forget to say that.
Yeah, you know what? Good point, Nat. Bravo.
It is still going.
I'm glad you I'm glad I left you your mic privileges.
But
we didn't say this enough. It is still going.
Sign it. Yeah, go, because the petition's still up.
Yeah. So. It's going to appear that it has already crossed the threshold. We have to assume a bunch of those are bad faith signatures. If you're from the EU, please sign it. Even if you think that your signature doesn't matter, I promise you it does.
Yeah.
And to everyone outside of the EU, please don't sign it. I know you think your signature will matter and will push it over the line. I promise you it does not.
They know.
It will be thrown out.
Yes.
And it will make every other signature look bad. So.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Definitely what Dalit said. Support it if you're EU. If you're not EU, tell your EU friends to sign it. That's the best you can do.
100%.
So,
yes.
With that being said, this is Celestia Radio Podcast. We are Matt, Nat, and Dalit, and we thank you for listening to us, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace.
All right, take care, everyone.
Love your faces. See you next week.